Hey, it's Natasha.
And Khalil.
And we are the co-hosts of
WokeNFree.
Thank you for tuning in to our 112th episode of WokeNFree. If you've been tuning in every week for WokeNFree Wednesday, you know that WokeNFree is all about being real and honest with each other and you. We talk about everything and anything important to us, you, the world, and nothing is off the table. This week, we're talking about something truly hot and truly trendy, whether American politics need to change. But before we dive deep into that subject, y'all know what time it is. It's Tasha's monologue time. So let's get with it.
All right.
First, have you downloaded this episode that you're listening to right now on WokeNFree.com? If not, please go and download the episode so you can have it and listen over and over and over again and share it and just be one with WokeNFree. Next, if you are not listening to the show and you catch us on like iTunes or TuneIn or Stitcher or SoundCloud or iHeartRadio or Spotify, we would greatly appreciate that you not only listen to the episode there, but also make sure that you're subscribed to the podcast on those different channels. And if you're curious to find out where we are on all our 25 different platforms, then just go to WokeNFree.com, click on the Listen tab, and you can check us out on all of our different platforms. Next, I talked about sharing before. Why? Because sharing is caring. So make sure you are sharing this with your friends and family. Quick, easy, share, guys. We are not a dirty secret. Please share this out. And then, of course, on social media, if you have like breaking news or episode ideas, or you're just like, it's 2 a.m., I feel like chatting, holler at us. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and even YouTube at WokeNFree. And then, of course, if you haven't reviewed the show, we would greatly appreciate the feedback. So go on to iTunes or give us a review on iHeartRadio or Spotify or any of the platforms that you tune into us and just give us a review. And we, again, can't thank you enough.
Each week, we like to share a little bit about us before we dive into the topic for the episode. This week, we're asking, which would you rather give up, junk food or television?
You're like literally trying to kill me. Okay. Wow. Wowzers. Okay. So I am a fan, guys. I am a fan of junk food. I cannot lie. I have to wear, my heart on my sleeve and be completely 100 because it's WokeNFree. But I also am I'm a content creator who loves content. So the idea of cutting off content that I've known probably longer than I've known most people, not likely happening anytime soon. So as much as I love junk food, I would totally give it up for television because there's just so many different programs and so many different ways to consume content that I just never want to not be connected to that. But what's your decision or thought here?
Mine is swift, and it's, without even thinking, is junk food.
All right, so you keep TV as well. Yeah,
because I can live without the junk food, but the entertainment is like, it's too, I wouldn't want to give it up yet. There's so many things to watch. Junk food, I've pretty much had every junk food I've wanted. I mean, now it's just variations of the same thing, but I don't think I've had all the television that I could see.
No, exactly. And there's movies and documentaries. It's just so much content that come through television. It's just, that's just too, it's actually like a shuddering, like a really an unnerving question to ask because that's just crazy.
Yeah, it'd be messed up.
Exactly. But WokeNFree Nation, we invite you to answer this question as well. If you had to choose between giving up junk food or television, which would you choose? Tag us on social media to share your answers and also put your answers in the comments, especially on Podbean. If you've downloaded the app, you can put your comments there easily.
So after that lovely question, I think you're ready to jump into the topic.
Let's get this train started, guys.
All right. I just hope you're ready for it.
Word.
Okay. Get in the saddle.
Good Lord.
Does American politics need to change?
Oh my goodness. With Mr. Cheeto Head in the office himself, right? Yes.
Oh, is that the tiger thing?
Exactly.
That he has those good Cheetos? They taste good?
That he literally became one?
Oh, yeah. There's hard Cheetos and then there's soft ones.
Word.
They're different depending on the time you want them.
I don't even know how to respond to that. I would say, if you look at who's in the White House right now, of course, as a hardcore liberal.
That's what you call yourself now? All right.
I mean, listen, I think in American culture, we're like overly obsessed about labels, and they're like, you're to the right, you're to the left. Like, at the end of the day, are you a good person? Do you intend well for the others?
That's
like,
a harder question to ask.
Yeah, I don't really care about your labels. Like, as long as you're putting out goodness in the world and you're trying to make this a better place, then like, have at it with your party associations. But I would say beyond just who's the head of office and the head of free world, I do think there are things that need to be changed. I think it goes beyond the scope of what we could talk about in this episode. But two things specifically that I would want to change that I think are kind of problematic and causing some of the issues in this country comes down to the following. First, with the Electoral College, I think that what's at issue here, and it really kind of blows my mind, is this whole kind of rise up and get everyone to run out and vote and vote and vote and vote. But ultimately, as I've come to understand it, regardless of what the American public vote for when it comes to choosing our president, that our representatives in our electoral college does not have to abide by what their representatives want in their states that they are a part of or representing, rather. And
the counties.
So, yeah,
they
exactly.
go like for specific counties.
Okay, so
That's
to
crazy.
me, that seems really problematic because like, if we're going out and we're like really hustling people to come out and to get their vote in and to overcome voter suppression and to overcome some of the bias and some of the things that are in place in our government that prevent people from voting, if our vote can kind of be not adhered to or not...
It's not really counted.
Exactly.
Depending where you are, it's not counted.
So then that to me is probably one of the biggest things that we would need to change, because we as people should have a direct and correlated connection to who gets elected.
Our leader, especially.
The leader of the free world, the leader of our country. We should have a hand in that. And I think that this electoral college is kind of getting in the way of this. And so I think that definitely needs some type of change. And then...
Agreed.
Word. And then the next change I would say is, I think, being that we've both witnessed this, the equalization of resources that are distributed in our local communities. So what do I mean by that?
That's tough.
That is really tough. So as we go into 2020, I think it's really challenging for us to be okay with the fact that we live in the richest country in the world, and there are still counties where students don't have the same types of textbooks or resources or funding to do projects and to pursue passions. And I think that is just nonsensical. So I think that however resources are distributed, and maybe it's through an IRS situation or a tax laws or whatever that's involved with that. I think that has to be redistributed, and I think it has to be equalized regardless of the composition of race or gender or any other factor or identifier, because I think that we are crippling communities within our own country, and then we are also unfairly judging them and saying everyone has the same opportunity, which is not possibly true if we're not given the same resources. So those would be my two big things.
Well, yeah, man. That second one is a big one.
It's hefty. It's a lofty goal, but
I definitely understand it. I wholeheartedly agree with the first. Yeah. The first one is the easy one to me. Like that's actually doable.
Yeah.
That's definitely a good one. So I would have listed the first one as part of mine, but I have some other things that I think you'll agree with, some of them at least, that I think need to change. Mm-hmm. And I think we may have talked about this one time, but there should be term limits for Supreme Court justices.
That's a great one.
Yeah,
and explain your thoughts there.
Well, I mean, it doesn't make sense that they can just be a judge until they die. Like
life appointment. Yeah.
That makes no sense, because what about changing times? What if they go senile? And they're not proven to be senile yet, or they have some kind of disease that nobody knows of, and they're making these big choices, and they're not even straight in the head. That's not great. And I think what all politicians are supposed to be is they're supposed to represent the citizens, right?
Yep.
So how can you have these super old judges out there who don't even know how to nay-nay?
Okay, now, sir. This is a serious conversation.
Yeah, but I'm just giving you an example, though. I'm just giving you an example, though. They need to kind of know, like, what's going on in the current times. Do they even know what e-cigarettes are? It's stuff like that. Like, how up on the topics are they? But it's a real question. If we ask all those judges, what are the e-cigarettes? I don't know if they would know. Like, I mean, it's an interesting concept. Do they actually know all the current day technologies, how it works? Do they understand, like, the science of global warming? I don't know if they understand all that things.
I think they're too busy deciding what women can and can't do with their bodies.
Yeah, I mean, that's like one thing, but see, even that, they don't know, like, the technological advancements made or anything in terms of that, like, the procedures with that. So I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me that they just, the life appointment, that's crazy.
Yeah.
For people that are supposed to represent you. Then a second one, I think, is just, this would be a give me, and hopefully it may happen, is free higher education, right? Since we offer schooling up to high school, we should just go the step further and say college is free too.
Okay, so you're stopping it at college, not masters.
No, well, we gotta work up there. We gotta work to that. Let's at least get college free, because I think that's like the basic building blocks of like kind of a career thing.
Yeah,
like you can get a college degree and you technically can stay in that career. It is possible. It makes it a little bit easier compared to the high school diploma. It's a lot harder to get a career from that. Like you usually still need some kind of like vocational training after high school. So I think college should be just
on board with that. I would also argue grad school, just because the grad school bubble is like out of control. And as someone who's living with extremely high levels of student loan debt, and primarily from grad school debt, I would say that personally, I would say across the board,
wow.
You can put in measures that if you get your graduate degree paid for, that you have to work for the government, or you can put in measures to get the ROI there. But I think that, I completely agree. Education is free, and it should be free across the board all the way up.
Okay, so you agree on that. Then my third thing is, I think there should be a ban on lobbying, because that's how corporations control the government. They pay these people to stop bills from going through, or pay them to make bills go through that are just in their interest. And citizens don't have the time nor money to do that. So corporations get to kind of take over that. And that's just ridiculous. It shouldn't be happening.
You went in. Okay.
Yeah. And then my last thing is, because I've definitely felt a way about this before, but I kind of changed the solution, is that I think our foreign aid spending is just like way out of control, and it's costing us billions of dollars that we don't choose how those funds are spent. Yeah. So I think citizens should be allowed to vote on how our foreign aid is spent. That's what I think. Like there should be vote on it. It shouldn't just be up to, I don't know who even decides how we spend that.
Our officials or representatives.
Yeah, I don't know which ones, but we don't get any hand in that. So they can say, this year we're sending $30 million to China. You have no choice in that. Do you think
the American people have enough context to make that vote?
I know that it's kind of like we don't have universal health care, but other people get to have, get free lunches for a year kind of thing. I'm not trying to say we shouldn't help anybody, but we got to kind of like rein it in, and shouldn't you fix yourself first before trying to take care of others? Like, I know people will be upset, but at least I thought that was all what it's all about, is like you're fixing yourself. Then once you're like at a nice high standing ground, now you can go and help others, because it would help if every American didn't have to worry about eating, if that wasn't even an issue. And with the money that we spent on the foreign aid, we could feed everybody 3 times over in America. I don't know about other countries, but the money being spent, it's billions. Like it's not like it's a couple millions. This is money that it could go towards a higher education. It could go towards free healthcare, universal healthcare. It can go towards things like that. So I think it's definitely something to be considered. Like,
absolutely. I mean, I definitely agree that
it's out of control to me.
Yes, out of control, and yes, something that the American public should touch and be able to vote on. I think the biggest issue is the policies that are in place and have been in place for a long time. So America's never just been a land for Americans. It's been a land that has gone purposely and interacted with other communities. And so now we're in a situation where pulling back can, as we are dealing with this current crisis, right, with the Kurds in Turkey and all this stuff, that ultimately, what we should do versus what we can do and what is actually happening, those all can be different scenarios.
They can.
And so I'm not a fan of saying pull out or take away resources at the detriment of others. I do agree that there has to be a way to be able to care for the American public and the American goals and intentions without harming or creating distrust and or disarray or chaos with others. But it's a delicate, sticky
we have to
situation.
stop babysitting the world, though, because how are you doing that when you have a gash in your arm?
If you stop babysitting, then what does that mean? You're not aware, right? Babysitters, what do? They're aware, they're monitoring. So when you stop, then you also I
don't know. I mean, I think China's doing pretty well, and they're not babysitting anybody. So that's why I argue that.
I don't know a statement. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal.
Fully know whatever. So it's
gonna there'll be backlash, there'll be fallout. But either way, we're gonna start better. We'll be bettering citizens, and we'll be all better prepared in every way. We'll be at our best. It's like almost it comes down to like putting your oxygen mask on yourself before putting on the baby. Yeah. It's kind of like we were putting oxygen mask on all these people and forgetting that ours isn't fully on our face. So we've been like slowly injuring ourselves over time. I think now we just gotta like bite the bullet and. I know you're against like some people getting hurt, but we got to make sure we're good, because once we're good, then we can step right back in and everybody can help out, because we'll all be fine here. And it's like, wow, we don't have many problems to solve here. We all have education. I think we're all being fed well. We're all being taken care of medically wise. Yeah. We're solving diseases. We're curing cancer. Like that kind of stuff would happen.
I think what it is I do agree with you that America can't necessarily take the lead when it comes to babysitting the world, but what we need to do is maybe kind of like why the UN exists.
They're there for a reason.
To take a more global approach to things. And so if America says we want to step a little bit back, then the slack is kind of felt throughout the world for those who can participate to help. But it doesn't leave people out hanging to dry, because I think that's not okay. And even if you're doing it to help you shouldn't intend to help yourself at the detriment of others.
And guess what happens from this? The backlash that happens, it's good though. So everybody's now taken care of. Now, guess what? We have more money to give now as a whole, because we're not worried about trying to spend for that hospital bill. So guess what happens? Yeah. American citizens can send more money to third world countries without being taxed out of our minds. We can literally just start sending. More people would be more willing to give, because guess what? They're living well off. They're not thinking about.
If our healthcare is paid for, then that's money. Then that's now money we can our wallet. So now we can.
Yeah, now we can donate. We might feel like
UN fund for this and that, and then we can also invite the public to be aware of, you guys, you are now saving $3,000 a year. Yeah. Here's ways that you can donate and support. So absolutely, I think it could be delicately handled. It's just a matter of why this is not compelling enough to the present. So why, right? So who's pulling the strings, or what parties or countries are involved to say that, nope, America, do your thing.
Because people have a personal hand in countries. That's why that we don't want to go into, because I mean, I can't speak enough on it. I don't have the background on it, but we do know that politicians definitely have stakes in other countries. They'll have certain corporations there. So they'll have a hand in why that country gets money as opposed to other countries.
That speaks to your idea of lobbying, that this idea that like government is not fully separate and different from financial stakeholders. And personal gain. And that is
that's part of
our way of doing. Our intended way of our Constitution,
right?
But yet
the Constitution
somehow
wasn't supposed to stand for that
for many years.
You weren't supposed to use the government to get your personal.
Separation between church and state. There's separation between state and personal gain.
That's not supposed to be a part
of it. Have a hard line there, but we're going into a new year. Maybe as more people become woke and free, they also will demand change, because I think the American people underestimates how much power we have in through protest or through getting new people elected that are more bipartisan and that are not so interested in just doing what they need to do for their personal gain.
Yeah, that partisan system
it's tricky. It's
I don't know if I like that either.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that.
More to be discussed. It's politics is it's been very interesting getting more political, I would say, and really trying to dive in and get a hand of the deficiencies within our system and what needs to change. But when it comes to thinking about the feasibility and possibility of some of the changes both you and I made or suggested, what do you think is really likely to stick here? Hey there. Do you have a book that you want to share with the WokeNFree Nation? Are you a business owner looking to share your product or service with the podcasting world? Well, guess what? You can book an ad with us on our Contact Us page at WokeNFree.com. We're super excited to speak with you about curating a unique ad that will get your message across the WokeNFree platform. So go to the Contact Us page at WokeNFree.com. That is WokenFree.com, because WokenFree is more than a podcast. It's a way of life and offers an innovative way to promote your platform in the exploding podcasting space.
Now you're talking about like from the suggestions or just in general? Because in general,
your recommendations. From your recommendations.
Oh, which
what
one
do you
can
think
actually?
Is possible?
Which one can we can actually do? Well, I mean,
term limits, right?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely possible, but I mean even before tackling these, I think the first thing is you got to like change your local politics. I think first, just to kind of get your local representatives on your side, because I think then they can kind of take it to the federal. I think that'll help make your kind of argument stronger. But yeah, the term limits is definitely. I think that's feasible. Like we've done that in the past. We've changed term limits for officials, so it's definitely possible. The ban on lobbying is probably impossible because the corporations already control the government. So
or limitations.
I don't know how that happens.
You can always imply. You can always
but
limitations.
They're not going to even let that go through, though. That's the whole point, because that's gonna mess them up.
It's kind of like, you know how Andrew Yang is proposing a really radical new change for the American structure. We have to talk about that, but I mean, I don't think anyone else is going to be president other than Trump, short of him being impeached.
He'll still be president. Yeah, he'll still be president. Though.
Yeah, it's a shame because I really
he'll be removed and be president still. He'll say, "Sorry, guys, I'm still elected."
It's like Casper, the friendly ghost that never leaves.
He's like, "I'm still here, guys." Yep.
I can't. But, you know, it's a shame because, I really do adore Andrew Yang. I feel like he would be amazing. I would love
that's a sort of radicalism we needed in terms of like a businessman running the country. He was who's
an actually good businessman.
Yeah, that's the type we were looking for. That's what people were asking for.
It's really, it kills me. But no matter what, I think he will definitely have a future in politics. It just depends if it's going to be for this next election or some other formulation. But term limits. What about free education? There are some states
only the college. I think. I don't think they're going to do grads.
You don't think they'll ever do grad? Yeah,
no, not ever. No, not
just
ever.
Not immediately.
But I think it would have to be a tiered system where it would take time. They would roll it out in phases, kind of thing. Because I can't just see them saying, you know what, guys, every education's free. It's just. That's a hard thing to do. There's a lot of money on the table.
Well, it'd be who's footing that bill, right?
Guess who's footing the bill? The foreign aid.
Well, that's a whole.
Because that covers that. There's enough foreign aid to cover a lot of stuff. It's billions of dollars.
Rocking.
I know. Look at all that money to come back in. You know, that's our tax money, though. That's what's. It's not like it's just like random money. Yeah. It's literally our tax money. We've spent that foreign aid doesn't just fall out the sky. It's from taxpayers. It's not just like, oh, you guys, look what we found extra cash. We're gonna actually send this to other countries because home is perfect. So there's no point to spend this money on you guys, people that we collected the money from.
I think the rationale is that like perfection is a
fiction. It's too much though.
So you're never gonna have home perfect. So it doesn't mean it means if you're waiting for home to be a certain level, then you would never have an interaction with the outside world. So that's why it's kind of like work on home and work on.
I wish that was true, but there's too much money. It would make the home the perfect place. It would eliminate racism.
Okay, get your life together. You're like
that's how much cash. It's so much cash in there, though. You could even be racist in America. At least there would be no reason to.
Funny.
That's how much cash it is.
America makes so much money they can't even be racist.
Yeah, that's what's crazy.
Can we put that on a T-shirt? Like, that's ridiculous. That's absurd.
We haven't tried it, but I bet
absurd.
You wouldn't even know what racism was if foreign aid wasn't existence. If that was out.
All right, sir. I think it's time for me to answer now.
Oh, so. What do you think then?
I think, is it likely to happen? Yes. As you guys know, WokeNFree Nation, I personally am a proponent that I believe in the power of possibility, that anything is possible, no matter how unfeasible it seems.
Like a ban on lobbying?
Yes. I think
you think that's actually possible?
I believe in the power of possibility.
That's crazy.
So anything is possible in this world. If you guys wanted to get up and fly, it's a possibility. I don't know when and how it will happen.
That again.
But anything can happen.
Even the impossibility is a possibility.
What is in the word impossible? Possible. So
no,
the power of possibility is real.
I can't go there with you because you say
want to go there.
No, because you try to get in there. You try to get in there, and it's like you make a paradox, and you're like, the paradox is possible.
Yes, everything is possible.
No, that's the whole point. You can't have the paradox. You can't. It can't exist. That's what I'm saying. That's the problem.
Disturbed you get by it, though.
Yes, because you're going up against the laws of this universe.
But anything is possible. Yes, absolutely.
You're dismantling the universe as it is.
Yes,
you're making a whole new thing.
Yep, absolutely. Everything and anything is possible. Do not forget it. Tasha told you, okay? However, how likely are certain things to happen? Well, I think, again, with the Electoral College, I don't know how likely... What happened?
What, you don't think that it's a possibility to go away? Really?
No, I think everything's a possibility, but I don't know how likely it's to happen in the next 5 years, right? I think that that's kind of it's a little bit of a long... I think most of the suggestions we provided are a bit of a long game kind of thing because
they gotta be brought to the table first, right?
I think that it's definitely not in 2020 are they happening. I don't believe that's possible, but anything is possible. So
you never know how things can get super radical.
Look at AOC, right? Alexandra.
You never know. It's
Cortez, Ocasio-Cortez. No one thought she could win, and look what she's accomplished. Right there, things come out of left field and they just are like phoenixes and they're just on fire. It's all about the Katniss Everdeen of life. So anything is possible, but I would say all of the suggestions discussed for this episode definitely is in the long game kind of conversation.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what are the benefits you think people will see from the changes we suggested to the system?
I think we both were speaking on the primary thing of control. I think that why I think American people feel so frustrated currently is that we just don't seem to have control over the decisions being made for us, and then also how these decisions are affecting us. And for many people who just filed their last taxes last year, were very upset about the fact that they thought they were getting a refund, and they were like, joke's on you. You actually owe a bunch of money. Ha ha ha, right? And that wasn't the sentiment across the board, that some entities were totally not paying taxes, right? So there's a lack of control, there's a lack of accountability, and I think the suggestions provided in this episode really speak to the idea that we demand control over the nation for which we live in, and we demand to have the ability to hold people accountable, and we demand the ability to say what our future looks like economically, socially, financially, educationally, and beyond. All right. And so, no, I'm not running for office, guys, but I'm just saying, I think that's the crux of what we were talking about. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I talked about some of the benefits.
Mm-hmm.
I know you didn't think they were possible, but
I think everything's possible.
All right. So the foreign aid could actually eliminate racism.
Yes,
it's a possibility.
Well, I mean, it's an absolute possibility.
It's a possibility.
It's an absolute possibility. Anything is possible.
See how Americans
do I think that's a possibility in most people's minds? No. But is it an actual tangible? Yes, in reality,
it's a possibility that if the spending was brought back home, we may actually eliminate racism.
But I also suggest you take that conversation and speak with the Grand Master of a clan and suggest if money is playing a role in their hatred for the non-Aryan race.
Money will make people do a lot of strange things. That's all I'll say.
Well, that's actually very, very true.
Yeah, so don't underestimate the power
absolutely.
of the green buck.
Yeah.
It's pretty powerful. So I think, those financial benefits is definitely one thing to see from some of these changes. And then I think just even seeing these laws that align with your beliefs is kind of... It's it brings kind of hope to your to people. So now they know that things can actually change since the laws actually align with the beliefs that they have. And I think just making some of these changes it'll give people more faith in the government itself, because I think a lot of people have law. They see the government as the
the enemy,
enforcer that's trying to take things away from you and control things instead of like just benefit the citizens so people are treated equal.
System, a nice, beautiful, tethered support system.
Because that's the problem. Like, it's definitely been changed into kind of like the separate entity that's not like for the people as it's supposed to be. That's not
brutal. Yeah, that's brutal.
Yeah, it was definitely the wrong thing. That's not what it was supposed to be. It definitely was supposed to be just something to help the people. So making some of these changes is a step in the right direction into bringing that more in line with what the original intention of government is. So it's definitely benefits that people would see pretty quickly if they implemented these things. I mean, it's, these aren't little things that we're saying to change. These will have sweeping effects on all the citizens, and then probably like I said, it'll roll off and affect the rest of the world as well.
Abso-freaking-lutely. Guys, WokeNFree Nation, we want to hear from you based on this lively conversation about whether American politics needs to change. What do you think? Please share your thoughts in the comments, whether you agree with us, disagree with us. If you were enraged, if you were like, yes, woke, and free, either way, please put it in the comments. We want you to join this conversation.
Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? It's scenario time, guys. Scenario 1. Rebecca is a passionate independent that wants to participate in the primaries to help select potential candidates for the presidency. Should anyone be allowed to participate in the major parties' primary, or could this cause havoc?
What a great question, because currently I don't believe everyone's allowed to participate in voting
Not
in this
every
country.
state.
Yeah, that I think ultimately also, like, if you've committed a crime, or I don't know if it's any crime or a level of crime, you're excluded from the voting process.
Yeah.
There's all these different...
You can lose that right.
Yeah, all these. Well, yes, as some people say, voting is not it's not a right; it's a privilege.
Yeah,
which I don't think is the most appropriate sentiment to take if you're looking for a more holistic approach to politics. So I disagree with that. I think committing a crime doesn't in and of
shouldn't
itself
preclude you from voting, right?
People make mistakes in life, and you should. How long are you going to punish them? They've already served their time or did whatever they needed to do for the crime. I think that's cruel and unusual, to be honest. So I think without knowing more information about Rebecca, I mean, I think at the bare minimum, she should have the right to participate in an election process that's going to help determine potential candidates for the presidency. And I don't really need to know if she's committed a crime or if she... I guess maybe the only question one could ask is she an American citizen, right?
So she's independent, so she's registered as
okay, so she's, because I mean, that begs the other question, do you want non-American citizens being able to participate in our elections? Like, that's a really interesting question. Because if you're living on the land, does that then dictate you should have the right to...
I'd say you have to be a citizen, because you got to have a stake in the game. Because if you're just living here, it's kind of like I can go to, the UK and I can vote for
that's true.
Their parliament. It wouldn't make sense. So no, if you're not a citizen, you can't vote here.
Okay, that we'll go with that. What about all those people with the residence, the green card, and all that? Oh, interesting. Okay.
Nah, because it's still because anybody that can be deported can't vote. That's what I'd say.
Well, I would be fine personally with either being a U.S. citizen or living here consistently for 10 years or more. Like that you're actually committed to living on the land. I don't know, because there's quite a bit of people who aren't citizens, but doesn't mean their voice shouldn't be heard. It's a little bit tricky. That's dicey, but I think ultimately, she wants to use her right to participate in the political system, and I say, go on, Rebecca, do you the damn thing, chick. What do you think?
I think almost every citizen should be allowed to participate in the primaries. That's all I would say, and I don't think it would cause havoc at all. Yeah,
I think it's good. More voting.
It's more people that are sharing their opinions. So
it's more data.
What's the problem with it? There's no problem with that. Which is
great, right? From people can collect the data, assess it, analyze it. So yeah, absolutely.
Can find out how certain groups vote, I guess. Yeah, can show that data.
Well, yeah, because you answer questions, right? So they can look at that and find correlations for what's going on.
And just as you're saying, you can have the prison population vote, so you can see how they, view things. What do they feel on certain things?
Yes.
Be interesting. Scenario 2. Luna thinks it's absurd that someone can be put into office without being elected by citizens. Is it reasonable for her to want all laws changed, allowing only elected officials to serve through votes by citizens only?
Okay. So was this my question essentially a question I asked earlier about the citizen, non-citizen? Is that what you're asking?
This is a thing where not all, like, so not everybody in office was actually voted on by citizens. Like, sometimes they're appointed to a position.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So moving past appointment opportunities.
Yeah, so saying every
voting.
every single official has to be voted on by the people of the nation.
Okay.
There's never an appointment, so you can't appoint like a Supreme Court judge or something.
Yeah, I think
Things
the
like
value of that is more control and more accountability. So I'm actually for it, because the problem is, what if you have people in office that aren't acting on behalf of the best interests of the American public, and then they're appointing people into office who are kind of like on the same wavelength of them, as like, I'm about doing me and that's it. And that's problematic to the American public.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think people, one could argue it's the same thing, right, with nepotism, right? Like, some people really get offended by the idea that you can just like bring people into an organization without quote unquote having the right qualifications for the position or the opportunity. So, yeah, we gotta vote people in. We gotta stop just like these like under the table
even
situations.
This one would be interesting. What about even the vice president? Should that be voted on?
Yes.
Or can you just have any? Because it's technically you can have any running mate, and if you win,
technically,
you're
I would
president.
be totally fine with that, because the problem
it does
is,
have power. The vice president.
You know, what if you like the president and you don't like the vice president, and then you're just stuck with this person?
Yeah,
that
like,
doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, let's vote everyone in, guys. Let's stop playing games.
Because we have the capability to do it now. We actually do have technology that can do it. So
can collect all of the votes, right? Yeah.
So I think it's definitely reasonable to change the laws to do that. Get rid of appointments.
You are breaking people's dreams right now.
Oh yeah, some people are upset about that.
Probably having chest palpitations right now.
Yeah, tearing apart the system.
Yeah, what you gonna do?
Nice. Scenario 3. Navindu is a staunch Democrat that hopes to choose his next president directly. Should he work on organizing a move on poll to dismantle the Electoral College to make his wish come true?
One of my own true heart right here, right? Yeah, okay. What's this person's name?
Navindu.
Excellent.
Yes. Rightfully so. And you know what the move on poll is, right? You actually got into that.
Oh, all those things on Facebook or something? Or?
No, it's from that website, moveon.org. They have all these things to sign, petitions and stuff.
I've signed one recently, that's why. Okay. Listen, I don't know if that poll is really going to take him anywhere, like realistically, but I think it's a good way to garner how many people are interested in this system. And, maybe he does get 100 million people to vote on there. Like, whoa, like then the government probably would be more keen to paying attention to that information or that data. But I think activism is kind of what the one of the grounding basis of American politics and what American belief system is. So if he is gung-ho about it, then he should do it, because like I was saying earlier in the episode, the Electoral College doesn't always vote the way we want them to, and that is causing issues.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think this petition will actually make his wish come true, though.
No.
I don't think that's enough.
It's just kind of, I think it's a good way to just like get in front of the government, like the people he needs to speak with, get in front of their face. Because like I said, if he gets 1 million or 100 million people to vote on that thing, then I think they might be interested.
Maybe that's actually something to talk about.
But he definitely could. He can garner press about that. If he gets like 1 million people to vote on that, like that's press worthy.
Because I know there's millions that agree with us on this, that the Electoral College is like an ancient, antiquated system that needs to go away. Yeah. So we just need to actually bring this conversation to the table. I don't know why no one's bringing it up, but it's definitely important.
It's so bizarre to me because, I watch The View, I watch all these other shows, and they go on and on and on about get out and vote, and I'm just like, what are you guys talking about?
Yeah, why? Because the Electoral College still decides.
But if unless there was a rule that said the Electoral College has to vote what their counties are, then I understand. Okay, the American vote is super important.
So remember, the biggest problem is that even if the majority of people vote one way, the Electoral College is like divided up in a certain way where their votes won't actually help to like, influence who's going to be chosen in the end.
Wow.
So it's like the Electoral College might vote how like a certain small group of people voted, but their votes are worth like 100 or something out of the 300. See how it's like it's a weird system because there's like a certain amount of votes. There's only a certain amount of electoral votes, but there's, millions of people. So
and that's probably also an issue. Good. Like, why is it so complicated, right? Why did we devise a program or a system in place that's just not so easy for everyone to understand? Just
because the origination of it was a part of it. I don't know the very details, but one thing was that people didn't have like a way to communicate about even the presidency in the original days. Like people didn't even know, they didn't know who the second president was. They didn't know there was an election going on.
Okay.
Newspapers were kind of a hard thing. There wasn't easy ways to communicate. So that was one of the big issues. So they were like, how can we represent everybody without communicating with everybody?
So it was trying elected officials to get people represented, but unfortunately now it seems to be working against
now
us.
It's against us. Now it's like we all can represent ourselves. Why are you still here? Because now you're just making it harder for us, our vote to count. Yeah, it doesn't make sense in this day and age because now people can actually use voting systems everywhere you go. There's some, I know there's still some issues, though, but still most of our voices do get heard. That's the thing compared to before where your voice couldn't get heard because there was no place to vote. There was no polling place. You were on a big farm with acres and acres and a mule, but that was it. So yeah, you see it's an old system that it makes no sense in this day and age.
Bernie Sanders, you, sir, are quite the impassioned speaker and leader of our times. If you are listening to this, what do you have to say about it? Because I would love to hear.
They will not win.
Bernie speak.
We will take it to them.
This man,
they will not do it anymore.
By any means necessary. Like he's all about that, and I love it. I mean, again, I don't think he's winning, but
well, yeah,
we adore you, Bernie. Things. You are. By any means necessary. He is about that life, y'all, and I love it. Oh my goodness. All right, so this was quite the episode, right? We essentially are at that time again, the end of our 112th episode of WokeNFree. Not even in the same octave. Okay, sir.
Well, we were trying to be non-bipartisan.
Smart. Does American politics need to change, guys? That's what we talked about in this episode. We want to know what you thought. WokeNFree Nation, do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you care?
Do you think it's perfect?
Yes. Do you think it's perfect? Are you like, why are you guys even talking about that? Like, we want to know everything and anything that you're thinking because it matters to us and it helps us to gauge what's going on in your heads because sadly, we are not mind readers. Nope. So we want to know. We're impassioned about it because it just seems problematic given where we are politically now. So that's why we brought it to the WokeNFree Nation. But we want to know what you have to say. And of course, will we leave you hanging for what our next episode will be about? Drum roll, please.
On our next episode, we will be discussing why AI isn't the end of humanity. Make sure you follow us on social media to follow along in the conversation, and make sure you tune in next week for WokeNFree Wednesday to join the conversation at WokeNFree.com.
If you'd like to be a guest on the show, you definitely can submit a topic for an upcoming episode. Share how you feel on our Contact Us page at WokeNFree.com. That is WokeNFree.com. We probably are just going to be starting to book up for people in 2020, but better now get the conversation started. Hit us up on our Contact Us page. And of course, you heard the ad about sponsorships. If you have something to advertise and you want a really curated ad that is going to be distributed on the WokeNFree platform for the WokeNFree Nation, you know what you have to do. Hit us up on our Contact Us page at WokeNFree.com.
If you didn't already subscribe, please do. Share the episode and make sure you come back to join the conversation every Wednesday for WokeNFree Wednesdays. Remember, Woke and Free is more than a podcast. It is a way of life. Until next time.